I'm so thrilled that you're talking with me today about it. But let's talk about that cover, that book cover, because it gives you a very special memory, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. As a matter of fact, it was a strange situation. We were in Hanoi, and then we went to Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City, and we went into a few art galleries just to see if we could take home something that for presents or something. And I saw a picture of those two women in a frame that was very different than what you're looking at now. And I said, I know what my book's going to be about. And my friend looked at me and she said, you're going to write about two sisters. And I said, she's no dummy, my friend Angela.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And they're going to be, and I said, and what will have happened to them? And all of a sudden I said, their village is going to be attacked in a massacre by American forces, sort of a William Calley kind of incident, for those of you who are old enough to remember that.
Yeah.
And everybody in their family is going to be killed except them. And why aren't they going to be killed? Because they were doing the laundry down in the river. And the American forces came from the inland part. They didn't come up through the river. So that I knew the first few scenes in the book. And in fact, I did buy that picture. And I have since found out that I could use the two women on the cover, thank goodness. And so I went from there. Actually, writing this book was not difficult at all. And I think, as you know, this is the first time I have written a non-mystery, and it's not a thriller. This is historical fiction, women's historical fiction. And there is suspense. There's inherent suspense because the two sisters are very different people, and we've followed them separately from both of their points of view throughout the story. And the story goes from 1968 through 1978. So it's 10 years, most of it during wartime. And there's a lot that happens. But I do have to tell you that I must have been hit with a moment of grace. This never happens to me. Usually I whine and I complain and I say, oh, my plot, oh my God, it's terrible. I never said that about this book. I always knew what was going to happen next. And I don't know how, the closest I got to that was with An Image of Death, which I wrote like 20 years ago or something. And yet it happened again with A Bend in the River. I knew the story. It always told me where I should be going.
I've known you long enough to know when you're in the midst of writing and you're not happy, you are on the phone with me or somebody else saying, oh my God, I have to go back to this book. I can't finish it. It's frustrating. With this one, you had absolutely no problem. It feels like you sailed through the writing on this. And I know it was not a short book and a short
getting longer and longer.
Yeah.
But I knew I had to tell the story. And then it got even longer when I had some of my beta readers say, well, the end is kind of rushed. By the end, I was like, okay, I'm ready to end this book. but the beta reader said, no, you really need to stretch it out a little bit. So I did. I mean, I did what I thought was necessary. And, when I say it was easy to write, I had to do an enormous amount of research to make sure it was right. And then after I finished it, I had to make sure that I had the customs and the honorifics, the way people address each other in Vietnam is very different than the way we do here. And so I worked with I put the call out, and I finally got a Vietnamese American editor who worked with me. And hopefully we're going to do a podcast about it later on, about how we work together. And she was invaluable.